Oh, hello. Remember when the Blair Witch Project launched its brilliant promotional campaign where it convinced us that we were all watching a real documentary? About a crew that goes too far in its investigation of an evil and mysterious witch. Well, in 2004, the Sci-Fi Channel thought to themselves, let's remake the Blair Witch Project. But instead of a witch, it's M. Night Shyamalan. Naturally. Who else would it be? You're not going to do one on Pee Wee Herman. When the Sci-Fi Channel hired Oscar-nominated documentary director Nathaniel Kahn, it gave the project instant legitimacy. Imagine tuning in for an honest behind-the-scenes special of your favorite director, only to discover you've been played. 20 years ago, the Sci-Fi Channel aired The Buried Secret of M. Night Shyamalan, which initially convinced fans that he'd lived a supernatural life, and then they had to sheepishly admit that it was all a PR stunt. Tonight we're going to be unmasking how a fake documentary gaslit an entire fandom. By 2004, Shyamalan was Hollywood's mystery maestro. 3 smash hits, multiple Oscar nods, and a knack for twist endings. All eyes were on his next film, The Village. The pressure? Massive. The solution? A documentary promising untold secrets of the man behind the camera. During the making of The Village, they had these documentarians were trying to cover M. Night Shyamalan as he made this movie, but he was very evasive and had all these rules, which is not too far from the truth, but it made M. Night seem like a very mysterious, supernatural person.
He's not just a great filmmaker, he's a supernatural.
Yeah, what was this, 2004? You can't just be a great filmmaker. You have to have, like, superpowers.
Yes.
You may have heard the word gaslighting. Well, what does it mean? Well, it means making someone doubt what they saw, heard, or believe. This mockumentary used all the documentary tropes. Authoritative voiceovers, expert testimony, grainy evidence to make the fans question reality. It's funny to think about people genuinely debating whether M. Night Shyamalan had a secret psychic gift. But that's just the power of lying. So without further ado, let's dig in to the buried secret of M. Night Shyamalan. It starts out with a credit sequence that lays all the little breadcrumbs that you'll need throughout the story. Brooding pictures of Night and a creepy little boy. Tommy Wiseau?
No, it's M. Night.
And the word drown shows up a lot, so yeah, you're going to have to remember that. You just know it.
Well, there's something about a drowning because that word appeared like 5 times already in the credits.
They really want you to pick up on that. We see filmmaker Nathaniel Kahn distressed as he talks to the hotel he's staying in because they've prematurely checked him and his crew out.
Listen to me. I am Nathaniel Kahn. I have not checked out. The party has not checked out. We have not checked out.
Where's the cameraman showing the room? Just want you to know what a plain room this was. Then we flash backwards 4 months to the beginning of the documentary crew's expedition. It's all good vibes and room service.
Thank you. Good night.
Hey, how you doing? You guys got into Philly okay?
Room service.
That's cozy. Mm-hmm. The crew makes a trip to the set of The Village, talking to local residents along the way, looking for directions, and referring to maps. Again, it's like the Blair Witch Project. I get it for Blair Witch Project. You know, the Blair Witch Project, they had this whole campaign where people thought that thing was real.
Yeah.
You know, did you think Blair Witch was real, or were you aware that?
I didn't think Blair Witch was real, but I thought it was based off a true story or based off a true legend or something. And I don't know.
It's just funny that they did a 2-hour documentary. It couldn't have been just 1 hour. It had to be 2.
They meet up with Night's publicist.
There are just a couple of ground rules that are important for you guys to follow.
Now, what the hell does a publicist actually do? Well, they do things like tell you not to make eye contact with their client.
The most important thing is not to make eye contact with Knight while he's directing.
Why do they always say that? Don't make eye contact with anyone. The directors, the actors. It's like, get over yourself.
Don't talk to crew members. Don't approach the guy you're here to interview. Other than that, you've got free reign. You know, it's pretty loosey-goosey around here. If I had a contract for people, it'd be like, everyone make eye contact with me. If you don't, you're fired.
Make sure they're like,
excuse me. Don't make eye contact with me? Huh?
notice me, senpai, notice me.
Approach me to the point of it ruining the movie. That's what I want my contracts to be really weird. They even got the storyboard artist from Knight's previous films to make a creepy cameo in this.
You know, I really have to be running on now, but all right. It's good to meet you. And
That was weird eye contact. You want that kind of eye contact? He's like,
No one make eye contact with that guy. Everyone's like, we weren't gonna. It's so weird how eager real people are to come off creepy and elusive. What's the benefit of making him seem like a kind of a douche? Oh, you can't look me in the eyes, and I'm secretive, and I have all these rules.
It's supposed to increase the perception of his eccentric nature and also make him a little more mysterious. But it's not. It's just cringe.
Like if Christopher Nolan made a documentary about himself, you know, and he pretended like he was actually born on Mars, and he was the chosen son of, I don't know, Anubis. And he came here and just to bless the earth with fantastic movies. Like that would be, you'd be like, wow, what an ego trip.
Yeah.
He's like, what? It was just a mockumentary. It's all in good fun. Then the microphones react to the supersonic stardom that Knight exudes. If I was making a fake documentary about myself, I would just pretend like I have more friends than I do. Not that I can cause electronic interference with my charisma. A random Philadelphia resident gives directions to where Knight lives.
Can I mention the location?
Because they know that for some reason. The film crew treks out to see it for themselves. A bunch of brooding teens are just hanging outside Shyamalan's house.
Hey guys. How you doing? You know whose house this is?
They're just waiting around outside his gate.
Maybe they want an autograph.
You're not supposed to make eye contact. Haven't you read?
Yeah. They didn't get the memo.
You see, teens these days, they just make TikToks and play video games. But back in the old days, we used to hang outside the property of the guy who made Unbreakable. Or the closest thing to that. We were much cooler back then.
Frosted tips.
He really thought this was going to be his big break. I'm in that fake documentary where I'm building up M. Night's ego. Get these Legos out of the way. Nathaniel Kahn hangs out with one of the boys in his basement. Typical Hollywood stuff, you know? And then they break out a Ouija board so they can actually get some interview moments with Shyamalan. I would find it stranger that this guy's in this kid's basement. Hi, Mom. What are you doing? Oh, I was just making a documentary.
What do you do with the Ouija board?
This is back before we used to use the internet for literally everything. That's why Khan is asking spirits in the basement of this random kid's house things he could ask Google. The planchette moves.
This has happened before. I mean, you have to believe. No, you guys, M. Night is connected.
Can't just be talented anymore. You gotta have, you're supernatural now. Because M. Night is connected. Not to Steven Spielberg, not to David Fincher, but random basement spirits. They finally get to have an interview with M. Night. You know what, I'm just gonna call him Manoj from now on in this video. Manoj, you like mac and cheese.
That's his name, Manoj?
You play basketball on the weekends. You're a normal guy.
You live in Philly.
He talks about the necklace that makes him feel safe.
It's has a little Sanskrit prayer in it from India, from a priest who put it in it.
But he doesn't know what it says. It probably says, you are not good enough. You need to hype yourself up in any way you can. I hope he never reads it because it'll ruin his self-esteem. He talks about how he feels like he can't just make a movie when he's making a movie.
It feels like I can't just make a movie. It has to connect in some unusual fashion for it to be appropriate. Otherwise, it's just a movie.
In real-life interviews, not the fake one that this is, he talks about his personal requirements for making a movie. And it's pretty layered.
Before it used to be, oh, I got a good idea, I'm just gonna write that. So then that was a different level. And now there's like 8 levels to my decision making. That it can have meaning, that it can have suspense, that it can have emotion, the humanity. That people in India and Japan and Philadelphia, that everybody can relate to. Feel like a great roller coaster ride, all the same. An idea that can hold all that without bending it too far takes a while to come up with.
I feel like his acting is a little too pensive and he's just trying too hard to come off haunted.
The act of believing. I enjoy that.
Are you doing coke?
Yeah, those sniffles. You don't think he did coke?
I don't think he doesn't strike me as someone who does drugs, but
And someone who rarely drinks.
But you never know. Maybe there's a mockumentary where he has a big drug problem and they have to go through all these things. I just thought it would sell Lady in the Water. Then he leaves feeling uncomfortable. The publicist chews them out for asking questions.
Nate, we went over all those questions really clearly. Knight is really upset right now.
Pretty softball questions, too.
At the end there, when you're asking him about the kids going to his house, violating his privacy...
I guess going to his house was a little creepy. But in today's age, Khan would have already live-streamed himself going through Knight's underwear drawer. And people would have hit the like button. So Manoj doesn't show up for the next interview. I love it. He's just recording dead space.
Yeah.
You just set up the tripod. Well, hopefully he'll show up soon. And Khan hangs out at the teen kid's house again as they chat online with a bunch of Shyamalan fans.
All right.
So now he's just hanging out with this little teen in his basement. Where's the parents? Nathaniel, do you want egg rolls? Oh, no, thank you, Mrs. G. Just cracking M. Night Shyamalan's mystery. That kid was like this.
Yeah.
They ask hard-hitting questions like, what are you wearing?
What are you wearing?
This chat's turning
pink panties.
They keep going back to, what are you wearing?
Okay, what is it with you, Nathaniel?
That's why you got kicked out of the hotel.
It's all becoming clearer now.
Yes.
No, it was because we were onto something. No, you kept asking everyone what kind of skirt they were wearing. A pivotal character arrives in the form of Javier, the pizza guy.
We've been shooting all day.
Is that the new G4 Macintosh? Or
It's not the new one. I've had it for a couple years.
I do tech support for the businesses around on the side.
It's definitely a choice to have the pizza guy be a motivator and your...
And a computer tech guy, like it's weird.
Oh yeah, and the documentary crew, for some reason, they love having him do tech stuff for them. Like asking one of the Shyamalan fans what they're wearing. Again.
Ask him if he knows what you're wearing.
If he knows what I'm wearing?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel real weird doing this.
Don't you have work?
Yeah.
See, things like some type of porn pervert kind of dude. Look, he told me to get lost. This is my number for, if you have any computer problems or anything.
The crew interviews a childhood friend who used to make movies with Manoj when he was younger, but he says he doesn't talk to Knight anymore because he felt like he was becoming a stalker.
I stopped trying to get in touch with him because I started getting nervous. I thought maybe I was starting to achieve stalker status.
What the hell is this fake shit? I guess it's so that we think that once you've hung out with Knight, you become obsessed. Why would you want that to be part of your lore? I just don't get it. A little old lady has a bunch of Knight's VHS homemade movies.
You know, I have some of his films.
I have to tell you, I'm about to get on my knees here. We've been trying to see these films. They're very hard to find. And would you be willing to show any of these things to us?
I would be delighted to show them to you.
Which the crew takes home to examine. It's amazing how many people let Nathaniel Khan into their homes and just hang out with him. Like the old lady who watches Knight's movies on her bed with him. They talk to Deepak Chopra, who has the most calming voice I've ever heard.
There's a ring of authenticity to what he shows in his movies as someone who's actually glimpsed alternate realities.
Glimpsed.
Deepak Chopra.
But I don't look him in the eyes. I don't glimpse that glint in his eyes. They start seeing mysterious limo cars around the set of The Village. They hear lore about satanic churches that used to burn crosses.
The local high school kids think that there is a satanic church.
Witches that were drowned in the town.
There's tales that people have been drowned as witches in the ponds around here.
They get denied access to the set by this one security guy. This is the most poorly planned press coverage I've ever seen. They talk to the pizza guy once again.
I don't understand.
You mean, what does that have to do with M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah.
Why do they want his opinion so bad?
There's the movie I'm supposed to make down here.
All right, I can see the
stuff. And then there's the stuff that I'm really interested in that seems to be related.
Well, Javier is wiser than your average pizza guy.
You have the choice right now to do what you want to do or what they want to do.
That is correct.
A lot of people don't have that choice. I don't have that choice.
Then they go and interview these old teachers from Knight's childhood school. This scene sets up two things. One, that Knight was never sick as a kid, like the Bruce Willis character in Unbreakable. And 2, that he had an invisible friend named Henry, who looks like he's a day drinker.
Underage drinking is a serious thing.
Apparently, Minogue did a drawing of Henry as a child. The weird thing here is that this plot point, the one with the ghost friend from his childhood, shows up in Knight's second feature film, Wide Awake. There's this twist at the end where there's this little kid he's been seeing the whole movie, like in the background. He barely talks to him. At the end, he finally talks to this kid, and then he walks away, like the main character walks away. Then he turns around to say something else, and then the kid's gone. And what we're supposed to conjure up from that is that the kid is a ghost. He had been talking to and seeing a ghost the whole movie. So this whole seeing ghosts thing, it's kind of an obsession with Knight. The lady playing piano intensely by herself during school hours, it's hilarious. This kid says a bunch of vague shit about Knight needing protection because of his abilities.
Put yourself in M. Night's shoes. If you had his abilities, people would want stuff off you. You'd have to be protected.
What the hell are you talking about? He's connected. He's protected. He's what?
The proof is there.
It's there. How many things did I show you? Remember that online chat?
Yeah.
The guy knew you were wearing that thing.
It shows flashes of the security guard, Knight's necklace, and the mysterious limo cars, which leads to Nathaniel Kahn trying to have a word with one of the limos. They're unmarked limos that are fully tinted, and they're surrounding the village set. Then, all of a sudden, the limos spookily drive off. Like they're living things that belong in Pixar's car franchise, They finally get to interview Minogue again. He talks about his favorite Hitchcock movies, one of them being The Birds. And what do you know? A bird shows up just then.
Worried about it,
Enjoying the process.
They interview another one of Knight's friends who used to make home movies with him. The guy talks about how Knight may have stolen one of his girlfriends.
What do you want to hear about it? Him stealing all my girlfriends? No.
This is a fake doc with a plot point to make it seem like Knight could steal your girl. I knew there was a point to this thing. Anyway, the friend gets spooked after saying too much about the casting of signs. It's basically alluding to the fact that Knight or one of his sentient limos would probably unalive him if he said too much about casting decisions or craft services or something. After talking to someone on the M. Night chat line, someone leads him to a connection with Johnny Depp.
Remember that the friend of yours you went to school with who was Johnny Depp's aunt?
The friends you went to school with who's Johnny Depp's aunt. Okay.
So they travel to the Chateau Marmont to interview Johnny Depp. I gotta tell you, it was fun seeing him make a cameo in this thing. I don't know why, it adds some flair to the whole thing. He talks about all the shit he has to go through just to have a simple conversation with Knight, signing NDAs, and having to memorize certain phrases to say during press junkets. If he were to work with Knight, that is.
They wanted me to sign all these papers, confidentiality agreements, promises not to speak about Knight and his world and all that stuff. And they had these quotes that I was to memorize. All people have secrets. Life would be boring without secrets. Don't you think? It was incredibly cheesy.
They should have made the twist that Johnny Depp is actually M. Night Shyamalan. He's just that good of an actor. Then they talk to Adrian Brody, who's overdoing it in the smug department. Get this, he repeats the same phrases that Johnny Depp was talking about in the scene before.
All people have secrets, Life would be boring without secrets, don't you think?
Oh, that is smug. And I ask you, Adrian Brody, why would you, he'd be like, why do I need to do this?
Yeah.
It makes me look like a douche.
Okay, so 2 people quoted George Bernard Shaw. Ooh, spooky,
Ooh. Who's that in the background?
They're standing so still. I'm like, is that a mannequin? But
then Khan gets an exclusive opportunity to hang out one-on-one with Knight.
Are you a clubby kind of guy?
Oh, not really. I mean, I guess
seem like a clubby.
No, I'm not kind of a clubby kind of. I mean, I think I overdressed actually for like.
Yeah, you look good though. You look like a job interview. I get a little stiffness coming from you, but maybe that's not. Is that? I'm not meaning in a negative way. I'm meaning in a great way.
Okay, now hold on. This is Jim Steaks here.
Ooh, a real Philly cheesesteak.
See, this is the cheese whiz. You gotta get this. This is the best part. Right here. Look at this. He's like a painter. He's like an artist.
He's an artist.
An artist.
You're an artist.
He is the drama queen.
He's a drama queen.
You know this guy? You know this guy?
Wow, let me see this thing. What is this?
It's a Sony Plie.
You're getting grease all over my Palm Pilot. This is the part where Knight seems the most himself. He's being loose and likable, and honestly, this is the version I've seen of him in countless behind-the-scenes docs and interviews.
Give me a break. You can play.
We find out that Knight is surrounded by something otherworldly because this girl with a Polaroid camera took a janky picture of Knight.
Do you mind? I mean, I totally love your movies.
A Polaroid, yeah, sure.
Who brings their Polaroid camera around though?
Is that where we were at in 2003?
Yeah, roughly.
Wait, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was getting the vibe area, so I pulled back.
You ever played pool before? You don't hit the 5.
You're supposed to hit the white ball.
You used the wrong ball.
No, I didn't.
You did.
I saw one of yours.
Oh, okay.
How are you gonna make a mockumentary if you don't know how to play pool even?
Yeah.
Stupid fucking bitch.
As a documentarian, you find some kind of angle that's interesting, and you do want to.
Nathaniel, you don't have to have an angle. Why do you have the angle is you make? Why do you need to always find an angle on a subject?
The irony. I mean, you're making a mockumentary.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like he's telling himself, you don't have to do it. You're a good director. You are enough. Don't make eye contact with M. Night, though. but do groove.
He's like, look at me when I'm talking to you. No, don't look me in my eyes, but look at me when I'm talking to you. But don't look at me in my eyes.
We also realized that women love Shyamalan.
You know this guy?
I know he's fine.
You hear this? You took a picture of Knight earlier?
Yeah, so cute.
And who does the film crew consult this janky-looking photo with? A paranormal expert? A witch doctor? No. They consult Javier, the pizza guy.
Why?
Yeah, my boy.
There's no reason to hang out with this pizza guy.
Javier informs them that Knight is a Santero, which means, well, let's let Javier explain it.
There's these guys in my culture who you know, they can communicate with the world outside of this world. When you see them, they look like this.
He gets so spooked that he finally leaves and does his job. Next, scare tactics. Don't you love that?
Yeah.
Kind of the way old TV.
They're up next.
Stargate Atlantis, all new Friday at 10, 9 Central. They interview a former high school friend named Cecilia Meadows. She's very obviously an actor, bless her heart. Oh, she's an actress.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell?
She's telegraphing I'm about to reveal he was a drowned victim or something, I don't know. And then a ghost or something, alien, showed up and was like, hey.
You're right, she is telegraphing it. The dramatic pauses. She provides us with the lore about Knight falling through the ice of a frozen lake and drowning.
He fell through the ice of the pond and then was rescued.
And she shows the crew a watch that he gave her, which is frozen at 6:30, which is like the 6th 30 cents. Wait, what's so special about 6:30? They make it seem like it's special here.
6:30.
Cecilia leads the crew to the place where Knight drowned. She finally realizes that she's in a documentary, which should have been completely obvious by now, don't you think?
He didn't almost drown to say he drowned. Knight was dead.
Why are you doing this to him? Why are you doing this?
You went with the documentary crew.
And suddenly now you're like, why are you doing this? You
took him to the
site of where he drowned. Like,
why are you doing this?
Because
the
Sci-Fi Channel's paying me to.
They're like, are you kidding me? It was an hour drive. We talked about this. So yeah, at this point, Nathaniel Kahn has pieced together a major breakthrough in his investigation. Knight is a supernatural ghost whisperer who survived a drowning, is loved by the ladies, and has sentient Pixar cars that protect him everywhere he goes. And of course, his friend Henry drowned as well, so they're good buddies.
Oh, they're trying to say that's the drawing of the boy who drowned.
And that's, yes. And
that's
M. Night's little friend, Tommy Wiseau. Oh, hi, Night.
How's your sex life?
The executive programmer at the Sci-Fi Channel expresses his concern that the guys are getting way off track from what they're there to do, which is get some interviews with Night and actors on the set of The Village.
You've got a week. You've got to at least get those interviews that we talked about.
You haven't interviewed, like, almost anyone.
Yeah, just Adrian Brody and that's it.
We got Johnny Depp. Yeah, he's not in the movie. And Khan is busy hanging out with pizza guys, teen boys, and Knight's former sweetheart. I mean, Khan seems a little ADD, you know? But that's fine, I am too, but do your job. So they go back to the set of The Village and capture the sounds of crows for a little while. Then they spy on Knight, who they can hear from half a mile away without having him loved up at all.
Oh, what about that? Are they lines as you're rehearsing lines from the film?
Your mic picked that up?
Yeah.
Back then, they didn't think we knew how microphones worked. I am reading a book right now called The Man Who Heard Voices.
Or How M. Night Shyamalan Risked His Career on a Fairy Tale.
It documents the making of Lady in the Water. He really had a real author follow him around and document the making of that movie, and I think it was real. So there's this this thing he wants.
He really wants the behind the scenes, like a very thorough behind the scenes.
He's also an actor at heart, and he was always in it. I understand where he comes from. I mean, he wants to be in the movies. That's why in the next movie, Lady in the Water, he was a pretty big part. The funny thing is it depicts him as hearing voices as he's making creative decisions. He's talking to himself, or he mentions to the author who's following him around for the whole movie from beginning, middle, end. It's like he hears voices when he makes things.
Ghostly voices, or maybe it's like an inner...
I get the sense of more of an inner voice. We all hear voices, and a lot of times it's ourselves, right?
Right. Yeah, it's probably like other parts of our brain, the smarter parts saying, don't do that, or you really need to do that.
Shyamalan's smarter voice saying, don't make this mockumentary.
He spoke too late.
They talk to Knight's shady publicist once again, and she tells them that they can't interview any of the other actors.
You're not going to get Joaquin, okay?
You're denying us access to the actors, or the actors?
It doesn't matter who's saying no. The point is, he's not going to do the interview.
For the next 20 minutes or so of the movie, Nathaniel goes around interviewing the most random people he can. A couple who owns a photo shop, and a shaman who talks to spirits about Shyamalan. Who needs to talk to Joaquin Phoenix or Bryce Dallas Howard when you can talk to this guy? Are you getting the Joaquin stuff, or it cuts to this?
Yeah. I hope you're interviewing all the actors.
Are you going to tell him, or am I, that those aren't dice?
You can't go nowhere. His blessings are here. You cannot leave.
This is their way of answering all the questions people have, like, why do you always shoot in Philadelphia?
Yeah, he's like, I can't leave. Do they order pizza every night? I mean...
They always ask for that guy, too.
Yeah. Send the Latin guy.
You guys need any IT work?
In his IT work, he was just like writing in the chat. It wasn't anything.
He's doing exactly what everyone else could have done.
I know.
But with greasier fingers.
He's like, great, now ask them what they're wearing. I feel really weird about this one, okay?
The crew heads out to a farmhouse that looks exactly like the one from Signs that Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix and the two kids live at. It's supposed to be the home of Shyamalan, even though in real life his childhood was spent in a suburb in Philadelphia. A real estate lady is showing them around. The makers of this documentary are really starting to grasp at straws at this point. There are just some random corn husks in the corner of one of the rooms, you know, because Signs took place in a cornfield, you know what I mean? The real estate agent is super nervous. You've seen all of this before in horror movies, okay?
Hello. Sorry.
Love the jump scare. You know, boom operators are always doing this. They're always super quiet and they're lurching around, they're creeping up behind you, you know? Then a crow comes barging out of the top floor bedroom. Look at her preparing for the bird to come out. She's like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Film run out or ran out. What's up with people not knowing how to speak American? Welcome to Costco. I love you.
There's a presence in the room. What do you think it is?
In the mirror. That's who Knight was talking to. That boy. He called him Henry. I believe that is Henry.
The real secret is he probably doesn't like water. He's like, I'd rather drink coffee, tea, juice, anything.
You don't think it's about not wanting to swim in water? It's got to be about, I don't like to drink water?
Yeah. He's like, water's so boring.
You were out there for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And you found out he might not like water? No, we're still doing some digging. You're fired. As the crew approaches the last few days of filming, they finally get to be on the set of The Village again. The one thing they were paid to do. It's nice to see them, do that for a couple of hours out of the 4 months they've been there. We got the Joaquin footage.
They yell cut and they're trying to switch cameras or angles for a second. So then the documentarian goes up to him. And right when he's laying in bed, he's like, you talk to me down, fucker?
Can't Joaquin out of this one.
Oh my gosh.
I've become my father.
Over your mic. Stupid fucking idiot.
Eat it. It's funny to think that while Knight is filming the real-life movie, The Village, he's also starring in his own found footage film at the same time. I wonder if anyone besides Adrian Brody knew about what was going on the set. Shyamalan looks a little embarrassed on set while being interviewed.
Your sets are very close.
Well,
It all comes to a head in the last interview that the crew gets to have with Knight in his trailer. Khan gets a little intense and just bears it all.
The thing is, we know why you've hidden that house. We know about the drowning. And Henry.
At least season the chicken before you grill it, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Your movies aren't fiction, Knight. They're autobiography.
What are you doing?
Then, as Knight gets pissed off, the audio malfunctions again. He's got some major power radiating off of him.
Seriously.
He sees dead people. And you know that. And also, we're pretty sure he doesn't like water, like drinking it a lot. It's boring, right? Wasn't that what we...
He likes Coca-Cola.
That's right. No, and we didn't get that. Don't...
He likes coffee and tea. Yep, he got fired. See?
After that disastrous interview, Nathaniel is lost. He looks like a wandering homeless guy on the streets of Philly as he's rocked by the fact that he, and he alone, knows the buried secret of M. Night. He must dig as deep as he can by asking random-ass people questions, like this video store guy, this reception working guy.
I remember 2 hands pulling me up from under the water.
Who pulled up your pants? And whoever he can stop on the streets.
Why is he pulling over everybody to talk to them? Do you know M. Night? Yeah, not personally, but sure.
It's supposed to show that he's lost it.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone too deep.
And now the documentary is changing, morphing into, do you believe in the supernatural?
And if so, what are you wearing? And full circle, we end up back in the documentary crew's empty hotel room, having been checked out unceremoniously. They obviously had to pad this out to fulfill a block of programming or something.
But this plus commercials?
Damn. Don't you dare add the... Then we get Knight taunting Khan with a voicemail.
No one's going to understand why you're doing this. They won't take it serious. Not one single soul.
Nice monologue, Shyamalan. Because you don't normally say not a soul.
Not one single soul.
Next on Sci-Fi, Scare Tactics.
And that, my friends, is how one of the most glorious PR stunts of the 2000s was done. So when Bonnie Hammer, Sci-Fi's president, fessed up to probably going one step too far, fans bristled. Critics called it irresponsible marketing. People questioned their own judgment, which is exactly the unsettling feeling that gaslighting aims to produce. But all of us in the present day, we're used to it by now. It's called the legacy media. Okay? We get it. We understand. We're used to it.
Yeah, only when I open my eyes, though.
The Village still became a minor hit, but the mystique around Shyamalan had been cracked. Critics started to see him less as a cinematic genius and more as a marketing gimmick. This movie didn't benefit from the mockumentary. You know, if this was to conjure up like, wow, he's otherworldly. It didn't work because actually The Village made much less than Signs. Signs was a huge blockbuster, and this didn't make as much, so it didn't help that. It did well, though. The Village did well. Don't get me wrong. I remember I used to be a box office buff, 114 or something like that. But of course, don't worry, Night had something of a comeback years later, so it's all good. Which it is good because I'm actually a fan of the guy. So, The Buried Secret of M. Night Shyamalan stands alone as a highly unique marketing stunt and a textbook case in gaslighting. As far as I know, no other director in history has done something like this, you know, because with all the social media scrutiny, it's just like, how would you even get away with it anymore? I think the closest that anyone came was Joaquin Phoenix, you know, an actor, making I'm Still Here. That one was kind of on the level of this, but I've never seen like a respected director do this before, so this has been a very interesting case. But anyway, M. Night, I appreciate you, man. This was entertaining. Thanks for watching. You can check out more Buried Secrets content by watching our discussion on my Duncast channel or our first time reaction on my Dunn Reacts channel. By joining my Patreon or YouTube memberships, you'll get early access to videos, exclusive behind the scenes content, and more perks depending on what tiers you choose. Link in the description below. And as always, dudes, see you next time.